A day in the life of a full-time game developer. Before the keyboard clicks, before Unity boots up, before the world loads for the first time, there's a silence most people will never experience. It's the silence before creation. Every day, game developers wake up knowing they are about to build universes from nothing. Worlds that millions will step into, explore, and escape within. But behind the magic, behind the final polished game, lies a day filled with stress, trial, error, patience, and tiny victories no one else ever sees. This is one of those days. The stand-up, the quiet before the storm. The day begins not with coding, not with designing, but with faces on a screen. The team, a morning stand-up, a ritual, a heartbeat for the project. Each person brings their own story to the meeting. The animator who barely slept, the designer with a new idea, the programmer quietly drowning in bug reports, and the producer watching deadlines approach like incoming meteors. We share what we did yesterday, what we plan to tackle today, and what obstacles are blocking our path. The call ends, the camera clicks off, and then the real battles begin. The to-do list, a map into chaos Unity, begins to boot up in the background. The loading bar creeps forward, slowly, stubbornly, as if it already knows what kind of day is coming. While it loads, there's a ritual that every game developer knows: the checklist. Not because it looks productive, but because it's the only thing standing between order and chaos. Today's tasks are deceptively simple. Convert legacy code, optimize performance, clean up old systems, test everything, fix whatever breaks. But that list, that innocent little list, is about to become an emotional roller coaster. Because optimization work is not glorious, not glamorous, not fun. It's slow, it's painful, it's a fight against ghosts left behind by earlier versions of the game. But it must be done. Loading a world, testing Neon Squad hours pass, changes pile up, and now comes the moment of truth. Testing the game. The headset goes on, the world loads. A new reality appears, Neon Squad. Bright, futuristic, built for the Oculus Quest 2. He walks through the level, watching. Are enemies spawning correctly? Do abilities load? Are NPCs appearing where they should? Does the level even open? Or does it crash silently into darkness? Everything must be checked. Testing is slow. Testing is repetitive. Testing is brutally unforgiving. But every time the world loads successfully, every time the characters behave as they should, there's a tiny spark of victory. The kind that pushes him through the next hour and the next bug, creating the space, separating life from work. When work happens in your home, your mind never leaves the office. So he forces a separation. Humidifier on, lava lamps glowing, lights low, just enough ambience to trick the brain into believing this is your creative zone. This is your world-building space. This is where games are born. A cup of cold iced latte completes the ritual. Then, headphones on, monitor brightens. The world of development begins. Into the code, where problems hide like enemies. The first lines appear. Old code, legacy systems, spaghetti logic left behind by older builds. It's like stepping into an abandoned city where every corner hides something unexpected. He starts rewriting, refactoring, cleaning, rebuilding. This is where people misunderstand game development. It's not just creativity, it's detective work. One line of code that looks harmless can secretly control half the game. One function can break an entire level. One change can unleash chaos. And he realizes it again, something every developer eventually learns. You think you know how the system works, until you realize you were completely wrong. He makes a change, tests it, something breaks, fixes the break, something else breaks. The day becomes a pattern. Build, test, fail, rebuild, retest, repeat. This is the grind people never see. Loading a world. Testing Neon Squad hours pass. Changes pile up. And now comes the moment of truth. Testing the game. The headset goes on. The world loads. A new reality appears. Neon Squad. Bright, futuristic. Built for the Oculus Quest 2. He walks through the level, watching. Are enemies spawning correctly? Do abilities load? Are NPCs appearing where they should? Does the level even open, or does it crash silently into darkness? Everything must be checked. Testing is slow. Testing is repetitive. Testing is brutally unforgiving. But every time the world loads successfully, every time the characters behave as they should, there's a tiny spark of victory. The kind that pushes him through the next hour and the next bug. Lunch break. A moment of humanity. It's nearly noon. His stomach growls. His eyes sting. His neck cracks when he stands. Lunch today is simple. Tuna and rice. The classic developer meal. Breaking Bad plays softly in the background. A reminder that life exists outside of code. And of course, his pet wanders into frame, sniffing the tuna like a curious co-pilot of the entire day. For a few minutes, life feels normal. But the break doesn't last long. The personal project. A world of his own. Even on his break, he can't leave game development behind. He opens his personal project, Guardians of Atlanta, a Greek-themed tower defense roguelike. No deadlines, no pressure, no producer watching the clock, just creativity. He works on the progression system, unlockables, data tracking, persistence through playthroughs. He writes a system to read and write JSON data reliably. He creates reset functions. He codes with freedom. For a moment, game development feels like magic again. Back to work. The final push. Break over. Headphones back on. Checklist updated. More optimization. More digging through old logic. More cleaning and rewriting. Afternoon hours hit differently. They're heavier, slower, filled with fatigue, but fueled by responsibility. This is the part of the day where discipline must take over, where passion alone isn't enough. He refactors another system, tests another feature, scans the game for hidden issues, checks logs, fixes warnings, tracks down a strange bug that isn't supposed to exist, all while knowing the clock is ticking. Deadlines don't wait. The hidden pressure, what people don't see. From the outside, game development looks peaceful. A laptop, a desk, a cup of iced coffee, a glowing screen. But inside the code, there is tension. Every modification is a risk. Every fix has consequences. Every test could reveal something catastrophic. And the developer carries that weight alone. People will judge the final game. They will criticize bugs. They will compare it to AAA studios. They will demand perfection. But they will never see days like this. Days where a developer spends 8 hours fixing something the player will never even notice. That's the hidden cost of creation. The evening. The final tasks. The sun begins to set. The sky fades. The room grows darker. It's nearly 6 p.m. One last test. One final check. One more line adjustment. He pushes the changes, saves the build, marks the final item off the checklist. And just like that, the day's work is done, or at least today's chapter. The transition back to real life. He steps away from the desk. The air feels different. The silence feels real again. A shower washes away the digital world that wrapped around his mind all day. Tonight he's meeting friends for dinner. A reminder that outside of code and pixels, there is a life worth living. Because the truth is, game development is isolating. It's consuming. It can swallow entire weeks whole. But moments like this, a meal, a friend's laughter, a walk through the city, are what keep him human. Today was a quiet day. No emergencies, no midnight crashes, no urgent calls from producers. Tomorrow might be different. Tomorrow could be chaos. But that's the nature of game development. Some days are peaceful, some days are war. Either way, the game grows, improves, evolves, and inches closer to becoming something players will one day love. Behind every level, every animation, every line of dialogue, every smooth mechanic, there is a day like this. Silent, intense, unseen. A day filled with tiny battles that no player will ever notice but every developer remembers. In the end, creating a game is more than a job. If you want more powerful, emotional, and real daily life of professionals from the front lines of our world, hit subscribe, tap the bell, and stay with us. More stories are waiting in the shadows.